Hi everyone. This next exercise we're going to do is we're going to build just a simple addition of two numbers, and just to show you just a demo with what we're doing is on here. I'm just going to take out some numbers here and we can start over from scratch with it. But if I took like the first field that I'm going to do, I'm going to make up a number 36, and we're going to just make up the second number is 85, and we'll click on add. It adds to two number and comes out to this field as 121. So it's a simple, very simple addition, kind of like a calculator, one of the functions on a calculator with it as well. So the whole exercise is to give you a sense of how to build input field. These are the two input fields with it by adding two numbers. This is a button, and this is what's called a text view with the output with it. So there's a lot of things that's going on here with the layout and with everything with it. So that's the purpose of this exercise with it. Okay. So I'm going to pause my video, zoom back out, start over from scratch, and take it from step one from the first thing that you do with this as well. All right, hold on. So the first thing I need for you to do is start your Android Studio, your Android Studio IDE. If you load it, it looks something like this with it. And if you can please click on New Project for me. And what I'd like for you to do is, in this new project, as you can see, what we are going to start with is the phone and tablet. The empty activity is what I'd like for you to select. Click on Next. And in the application name, if you can please, we can just, I'm just going to call this app called Add to Numbers app. Exactly what I have. Add, uppercase A, space, 2, the number 2, uppercase T, space, numbers, plural, uppercase the N, space, app. So with it. And same thing as what we do here in the package with it. We always reverse the domain name. So in the like I want you to call it .com. So in this case, I want to do com.add two numbers app with it, no spaces in there. Okay, so we take out the word example in there. You can see that. Give it a path where you want to store it. This is in my case, I put it on my local drive with it. Make sure it's Java is the language. And I'd like for you to do a pull down on this thing and find the most common one, the lowest common denominator is API Android 4.1, the Jelly Bean one, which should serve about 100% of your devices out there with it. Okay. With it, but that's okay. I mean, this is all on an emulator we're running this thing on. All right. Once you've done that, you can please click Finish. This will take a second to build, so I'm going to pause the video for a second. Okay. So once this creates, again, if you look up in the upper left-hand corner, the main activity.java is this file. I'm going to go inside this code. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about this code in a second. But the area I like for you to, and the first thing I like for you to do is to expand the res. It looks like a folder icon. And if you can please expand the layout, it has what's called activity underscore main.xml. The same file that looks like this. If you click on the design one with it, so just to give you a little bit more layout, let me scoot this thing in a little bit more so you can see what I'm talking about with it. And let me pause. I'm going to zoom back out so I can capture most of the screen here with it as well. Okay, so hold on a second. So can you see my cursor on over here, where my cursor is hovering over? There's a code, split, and design in the upper right-hand corner. This is what the design looks like of the activity underscore main.xml. The split looks like this, which is half the code, the XML code, and the other is the design. If I want all code, it looks like this. So for now, here's what I would like for you to do is I want to keep it on the design side for now with it. All right. So just to give you some navigation of what we're doing here with it. And I'm going to actually pause this and let me zoom in on the area that I want you to do. So the text field that I want you to use, if you look over in your palette, it's AB. Look, there's a number. This is a special data type that we're using, all right? And numbers is a whole number that we're going to actually use in here, all right? So if you can click on the number, it's under the category is text, and if you can drag that to the layout, the white side, it's going to be both of it. It's called the layout with it, and kind of place it right there for me, all right? And on the right side of this, in the attributes, you're going to see that there are these plus signs over here in the constraint widget with it. So this is what we need to do, is click on it, and if you can just anchor these things to the screen with it, okay? So this becomes your anchor with it. Now if you click inside it, click it again, you see how the mode changes with it? And I can click on here and constraint that as well. So, you know, like I said, it's pretty flexible that you can actually adjust this based on these numbers with it. So just leave it the way how it is right now with it. But here's what I want you to do. This is the layout for this. And if you click on this, I would like for you to look at the attributes, some of these attributes on here. For example, we want to change the ID. Make sure you see where it says ID, and there's a field up here where it currently says edit text number. I'd like for you to change that for me and update that for me, okay? Because this whatever you type in here is going to be part of the code that's actually being used as well, all right? So in the ID field, I'd like for you to change it to ET, short for edit text, okay? Edit text, and we're going to call this num1, all right? So it's one word, ET, num, uppercase N, U-N, U-M, and a number 1. E-T, uppercase the letter N, U-N, lowercase U-N, and the number 1. No spaces in there with it as well. So that's one thing, right? So you can go in right now. Once you click Enter, I want you to click on Refactory on this one, all right? So click on that. That will change that, and you notice inside of that the ID is called ET. Now it's very important that you know it's ID, because one of the things that later on when we work on these, you're going to use these codes in the Java code to add these two numbers together. Remember that this is edit text num1. All right, that's one. The second one, we need the same thing. Second number, I want you to drag the second one over, place it about underneath it, or about here, and let go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add in the second number right now. So click on, again, your text, num. Just drag that to the bottom below it and let go. Should be there. See it? Okay, now pick it up with it. Same thing, you need to put some constraint on these things. So click on that. That's going to connect to the top one. Click on this one. Connect to the bottom. Click on that. Click on that. Okay. So again, if you want to adjust it a little bit, just click inside these fields where it has kind of like a little zigzag thing. It makes it a little bit more. You can adjust it as well. Okay. So just FYI with that. All right. So I want to adjust this a little bit to have it, instead of 80 going to the top, let's kind of eyeball it. You know, there's no right or wrong to this right with it. That's just stretching the box out a little bit with it. Okay, so adjust it a little bit the way how you want it, and kind of have an eyeball and kind of set it with it. The second one we're going to put in here is a button that adds the two number on this together with it. So if you come over here to the button, here's a top button over here. Oh, wait a minute, we didn't change the text in this thing, right? So come up here and change the ID in this one right here. If you do, again, it's ET, edit text, call this num2, all right? ET, lowercase ET, num, N-U-M, uppercase the N, number 2. Up here in the ID, up here where my cursor is pointing at with it. So that's what I want you to do, is make sure you put the right one, click enter, and then you're going to click on refactor. That's going to change it in the whole thing. So here's the layout, the constraint layout with it as well. Now, one of the things I want you to look at is we need to add in a button here, basically with it. So click on the button in your palette, and here's a subcategory of the button right here, and you can drag that button for me, put that somewhere in the middle. Takes a few seconds here. Hold on. So here's my button right here. Let go. My computer's acting weird tonight. Click off of it. Bring your button in. Okay. Just click off of everything. I was clicking on something. It didn't allow me to bring it in with it. That's why. So in this button, same thing. You're going to actually name this button right here. Okay. So again, be careful how you want to name this, and you remember name. So here in the ID for this right here, I like for you to change that word button, call it BTN, lowercase btn, one lowercase at btn, and we're just going to call this button add. Uppercase, the ADD is the whole button. When you get to this, click on refactor. What it does is it changes it out in the entire code that you're going to use with it. Okay, so that's the third item. The fourth item I like for you to add. So the fourth item is I like for you to click on the text category in the palette. It's the first one is a text view, AB text view, and if you can, okay, hang on. Make sure you click off of everything with it before you bring it on here. So it's text view, and you just drop it off of this right here. Now, same thing is what you would need to do is you need to actually place this in an area that's kind of center with this and everything with it. You need to anchor this thing. So click on these plus signs over here, and I want to anchor it to the top, and I want to anchor this to the bottom. What's important here is the name of this text view with it as well. Make sure the ID is changed in every one of these things that we've been working on. All right. In this ID, I need for you to change it to. So in the ID, in the text view, it says text view 2. Take that out, lowercase the TV, short for text view, and uppercase the word A in answer, ANSWER. Okay. So and hit enter. And I want you to click on refactor. So that completes that with it. There are several ways. There's another thing I want for you to show is that if you look at text view down here with it, and you see where it says the text view in here, this is one way of changing it, is in your attribute window with it as well. So at the bottom here, let's see if I can scroll to the bottom here. You see where it says text view? You can change this text view and this wording right here to change it to say something else with it. So I want to make some note here, just really quick here. These two fields that we're adding numbers to, one of the things I want to point out is that these are positive numbers we're adding because we just picked numbers, right? So if you want something that's a decimal, if you look in the palette over here, there's a number decimal, there's a number sign. So if you want to add a negative number, you have to pick the number that's sign, that's negative or positive. All we put in here is just regular plain old positive numbers with it. So these are different data types is my point, right? So if you want something that's a decimal, then you have to use a number decimal field. If you want something that's a negative, then you have to use a negative field in here as well. So in this case, I'm just going to use positive numbers with it. Click on the button one for me, the button attributes. I want you to change the name of this button because I don't like the way how it's called button on here. So if you come down and you look at the way how it's called in the attribute, there's a word that's called button on here on the text. Take that out, and if you want, you could change to the word add and hit enter. Okay, and you notice it's going to change add. There's two ways of changing the value or the property in here. You could do it in the attributes, or you could do it in the code. So you see there where it says add here. Well, if I click on split, and you're going to see the word add in here. Here's the button right here. I'm going to scroll down and find the button. Look at line 51. You see where it says Android : text add. I just changed that, right? So I could do it in the code, or I could do it in the design. The design's up to here, right? Either way. So I'm going in here. I'm going to go to the text field. I don't like the word text field in here with it because it's very vague. I don't know what that is with it. I'm going to use the word answer, all right, in the text. Well, same thing. I could change it in the palette of the attribute in the field like this, all right, or hit enter, or I can go in and change it over in the code. So a couple of options for you to see. I do want to tell you that if you use, I always like to jump over the code. That's just me with it. So if I click on the answer in the text view, and I come over to the left-hand side, and you see the text view over here with the attribute answer, you need to put I'm going to change the font size of this, and the font size needs to come after what you just declared. All right, I'm sorry, it's not text size, it's not font size, it's text size. So if I start typing on the left-hand side over here, you're going to see the IntelliSense drops down, and click on it. It just helps your typing a lot faster and avoids a lot of error in it. So I'm going to click on text size. I'm going to give this 32 scale pixel. Okay, scale pixel. Make sure it's SP with it. You notice it became a little larger in it as well, right? So this is where I'm going to show you where this is with it. On the other hand, if I want to do this on the design, there's also text sizes, I believe, in this version. No, they don't do it on here as well. You got to do it over in the code, all right? So it's kind of limited with it as well. So this is, I'm going to pause the video as the first part with this, because I don't want to make this any longer than it is with it. This is in the first part of the adding of the two numbers.